Good morning, everybody. It's so good to see you this morning. It is Thursday, June 26, 2025, and I am coming to you from central Minnesota. So as you pop in, say hello. I see Rachel is already here this morning. Good morning, Rachel. And tell me what's going on in your land. Are you working on any good craft projects? We are in the midst of summer. I can't believe we're at the end of June already, which means if you kind of go, so in Minnesota, they get out of school kind of right at the beginning of June, and they typically go back end of August, but most go back after Labor Day here. There's a bunch of you popping in. Good morning, Sarah. Good morning, Andrea, Bobby, and Heather. It's good to see you this morning. But like I was saying, so that means like a third of your vacation is gone. And I know so many of you across the country go back at different times of the summer. I know there are people who start going back in August. So summer it is flying by. We had a super hot heat wave here in Minnesota, and I know that is happening across the country. I don't like the hot, but this week has been much cooler, although we've had a lot of rain, so it's very wet here. In fact, today there's a big festival in our town called the Lemonade Art Fair, and it goes rain or shine, and we're hoping we can go over there today and check things out. So we'll see. So good morning. Lots of you popping in this morning. Good morning, Barbara and Beth and Lori from Iowa. And we've got Pam. She's doing 4th of July cards. Yes, that is coming up really fast, like next week, right, you guys? Good morning, Valerie and Mary. You're celebrating your 32nd anniversary today. Oh, Mary, happy anniversary. I'm so excited for you. I hope you have some big plans. I saw, Mary, that you're doing a new production, which is very exciting. I love that you're a part of that. So Cheryl and Vicki and Debbie, lots of you popping in this morning. Debbie, you're watching from your camping trip? Yes, she feels like we're all family. I feel like that too. My goodness. Pam would love rain and thunderstorms. I would love to send them your way. I really would. We haven't had flood warnings or too much flooding where I am, but I know down in the Minneapolis area that is going on. We have somebody else watching camping in Illinois. So yeah, I love camping, you guys know that, right? Although we're not doing a lot of camping in my family right now. I know that a lot of you have been following along with our adventures here with us buying land and selling our house. I'll be excited to tell you we accepted an offer on our house last week, and so we are furiously packing up our house right now. We just got through the inspections and the appraisal. And so we have to be out very, very quickly in the next few weeks. So that's what I'll be doing. So this is actually probably the last time you're going to see me live here. I have a temporary location in between and all of that, but it'll be a little bit, maybe you'll see more of Sue Baker and Susan down in the studio for a couple of weeks here while I get settled. So thank you for bearing with us during all of this transition, for sure. Yes, thank you guys for the congratulations on that. It's very exciting. It's very overwhelming. We have also other things going on. Tacey's birthday is tomorrow, so we have her party coming up. We talked about that a little bit last week with our birthday cards that we were creating. And 4th of July, and yeah, it's just a very busy time of summer, and it's extra busy here at my house. So this is all gonna get packed up here very shortly, and I am gonna be transporting it to my next location. So we're kind of gonna be in a spot for a while we wait for the house build to happen. So thanks again, you guys, for all of the congratulations and good luck and all of that. So we need it for sure. So what's going on at Tailored Expressions, you guys? It's Kit Week, and my newest kit that I illustrated, the Seeds and Such kit, released on Tuesday. You guys have been so excited about this kit, and I'm very excited too. We're gonna create with the kit during this live, and I hope you guys have so much fun learning the things that I'm gonna share with you. I'm gonna show you how I did a card, and also the gift card holder. So we'll look at that in a little bit. That's made with the new Petite Packet die collection. So it's super fun. I just have had so much fun creating with this kit and loved seeing all of the projects that the design team has created, and I cannot wait to see when you guys get this in your hand what you do with it. There is a discount happening on the kit while supplies last, or through 9 a.m. Central next Tuesday, July 1st. You can get $10 off the kit, or if you buy that So Much Fun bundle, you can get $15 off. So take advantage of that so that you can get all of the supplies that you need to start crafting with these cute little seed packets. And you probably saw Taylor's live on Tuesday, seeing the cute tomato shaker card she made. It was so adorable. And if you also, there's another video Mindy Egan created, so stop by the YouTube channel, and she also did little shakers. She made the cutest little shaker card envelopes that you can stick little sweet notes into. And like we said, these little packets are perfect size for a gift card. So like I said, I will show you all of that. So it's so good to see that so many of you are excited. Valerie says her kit shipped, just waiting for it to arrive. Yes, I hope you have so much fun with it. So also what's going on, not only there's the sale on the kit, but also don't forget, if you are wanting to join us in October for Stamp Joy, the early bird registration is going to be going through July 1st as well. So if you want to join us, which please come join us, come stamp with us. It's so much fun. Come join us in October in Des Moines, Iowa at the event center, and I would love to see you there. So take advantage of that. And then if you can't travel, that's okay. As much fun as it is to be together, I know that's not possible for everyone. We know that. So we offer a virtual option. One of the classes that's taught at Stamp Joy is available in a virtual format, and that will happen in November. So join us for that, because you can, wherever you are, you could join us for that. So keep that in mind. It's so much fun to connect with our crafty people, whether it's in person, whether it's online. It's such a beautiful community to be a part of. And don't be afraid. If you don't know anybody that's coming, come anyway. I have seen nothing but so much welcoming to people that are coming on their own, inviting to sit with them, join them at their table, stamp with them. It's just a really wonderful group. And yeah, don't be afraid. Come join us. Come say hi to me. I really would love to say hi to everybody. You know, sometimes people can be funny and nervous about that. I want to meet all of you, so please come up and say hi. I would love to meet you in person if I haven't. So that's what's going on. Stamp Joy, Seeds and Such card making kit. So what's happening next week? I don't have any sneak peeks for you today. If you have been a part of the TE family for a while, you know that when we hit July, we do a retirement sale, and that is what is coming up next week. I have the list, you guys. There are some heartbreakers on there for sure, but you all know we have to make room for brand new things coming in to our collection. If we keep everything, we're gonna run out of space. In fact, we do run out of space. We're building more space to hold even more things, but the reality is we want to bring new, fresh things in for you, and so we have to kind of weed out some of the things that we need to. So that's coming next week. Lots of you are saying you're going to be coming to Stamp Joy. I am super excited. That'll be so much fun to see all of you. Mindy, you said you're going again this year. I'm glad you enjoyed it last year. So yes. Oh, Denise, you're doing your first Stamp Joy in staycation. Yes, that's perfect. I'm excited to see you there. So, because I think I'm invited to teach there. I don't know. I may or may not be there. I typically have been. So we'll see what happens. All right, so let's get crafting today. We're going to craft with the Seeds and Such card making kit. So I'm going to flip you down to my desks, and let's talk about the projects that I created for this release. So here they are, the cute little seed cards and seed packets that I was talking to you about. Created with that. I just love this little packet. I love this style. I am a stationery girl for sure, and I love fun envelopes, and this little packet envelope just like, it just does it for me for sure. So, and then here's the card here as well. Now, if you take a look here, I stamped this in toffee. There's lots of toffee going on this card, but there's some extra texture on there as well. I stamped over the top of that with the linen background stamp to get a little bit more of a distressed and vintage look. So that's something fun to do with some different patterns and textures over the top. There's that knock on wood background stamp. That was a perfect companion to this. And these are the peas, and in the packet, just so you can see how I did my little gift card holder. And I'm going to show you how I did my little closure here. But inside here is a little basically card, which I also stamped with the knock on wood background to kind of match the main card. But but it's got the notches cut in for a gift card, which I have actually put the gift card in here because my intention was to open the one with the gift card first. So again, here is this one, which is going to coordinate with this card. We'll talk about that in a second, but there's how that fits right onto that, into the notches on there. Just slide that in and then put it in the packet, and then it is perfectly packaged to give as a gift. So there it is in that one. And like I said, I'm going to show you how I did this. In fact, there's a die in the A2 Stacklets die collection that coordinates and fits right in there. So you don't even have to cut it with your paper cutter. You actually can use the die, which it is this one, I think, right here. Yes, right here, to cut that out. So it works perfectly. All right, so we are gonna also, let's take a look at this other card here. This is the one we're gonna create today along with the coordinating seed packet envelope. So we're gonna do some toffee stamping, and we're gonna do some veggie stenciling, and we're gonna cut them out. And this is that cute chicken wire background that we came out with. I did this one a few years ago, but how perfect to go with this whole gardening theme. So let's get creating. I'm gonna set these aside. And we're gonna start with the Seeds and Such background stamp. So we're gonna create a little bit differently than how Taylor showed you on the live on Tuesday. She showed you how to use the stencils to get them perfectly into the openings, but we're gonna do the die cuts, so we don't need to worry about putting that in there, if that makes sense. Okay, I'm gonna grab some adhesive to pop this into my mini Misty, just so that I know it's lined up perfectly on that piece of toffee cardstock. And that did not stick weird there. Let's see if that works. That should be fine. Okay, so I actually have it cut like 6 inches because that fits in there, and I'm at like 4.5, but that's definitely generous for this. And we should be fine with that because we've got some space right down there. Okay, so we're gonna stamp this with toffee ink. Whitney is excited. Gonna ink this up. I just re-inked my toffee ink pad, so let's see how juicy I got it. This is one I tend to re-ink often. I wonder why. I use it a lot. That's why. All right, so we're gonna do that. I've got my Just Press tool to get that impression. And I am gonna do one more just to get a little bit of a darker tone on there. Taylor talked about this, when you've got that, if you get ink into your opening on your frame, just be aware. In fact, you might want to wipe it out of there if you don't want to risk getting that stamped onto your image. All right, that looks good. So we're gonna do this, and then let's stencil our veggies next, and we'll do some die cutting kind of all together because we'll cut these out with the coordinating die. But in the meantime, we are gonna stencil, we're gonna do the peas and the radish today. There are 2 sets of stencils that stencil 2 different veggies each. So they are designed to line up with the stamped image that's got the etchings on there, so you can line them right into the openings. But like I said, for this project, I'm just gonna do them on a piece of sugar cube cardstock, and then we will cut them out with the coordinating dies. So make sure you look at the code. This one has got A1, A2, A3 that tells you they go together and the order that we recommend doing them. Beth is asking, will you use the burlap on the top to show how that works? Are you talking about the gift card holder? Because I am gonna show you how to create this closure. The other piece of burlap that I used was I just tied a bow at the top of the card with the burlap twine. So that one was pretty self-explanatory, I think. All right, I'm gonna stick my stencils down. I like using pixie spray. I spray a thin layer of this on the back of my stencils. So we've got, on this one, we have the kind of outer shell of the pea and then the main part of the radish. So even though this is one layer, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the same color. Keep that in mind. Got my little blender brushes here. Let's start with this radish. The radish I started with guava. I'm gonna do that for the radish, and then we're gonna add a bit of shading to the top of that radish. I'm just gonna add just a touch more. So I'm keeping it a little bit lighter at the bottom, a little bit darker at the top, and we're gonna add some cherry pop right at the top of that radish. So pretty simple blending on here. This is really the only blending I'm doing between these two. You can get as simple or as fancy as you want with your veggies. Okay, for the peas, I'm gonna start with green tea for this outer shell color. Make sure I've got the right green. Green tea and Brussels sprout are close, but Brussels sprout is obviously darker. But they do work really lovely together. Oh, the texture on the solid stamp, I actually stamped it first. That's the other card, so I'm not creating that card today. I talk through it on my blog, so you can go and check that. You could use burlap as a texture on there. Let me just show you again. I'll come up closer again, where you can see the linen is stamped right over the top of the toffee. So I stamped the toffee first, and then I actually stenciled this and then I masked the veggies off so that I wouldn't get the texture on the veggies. You could do it before, but then you have the ink kind of behind your veggies. So I wanted this to be clean, if that makes sense. So I masked this off and then I stamped over the top with that linen. And of course it did stamp in those sugar cube areas, but you can't see that because it's the white ink on the white cardstock. So I hope that helps. And like I said, you could use the burlap, you could use the knock on wood, you could try all sorts of different background textures on that. But I used the linen background on there. Okay, I think I got the shell here and the radish, kind of main part of the radish, I guess. Come on now. Let's move on to stencil number 2. Thank you, Bobby. I did the best I could to make things look good. I'm excited about how they turned out. Like I said, a lot of times when I'm creating and doing my illustrating, I'm always thinking about how it's going to work as a stamp. That's just always going on in my head. But when you actually get it in your hands and get to create with it and it works perfectly, it's so much fun. Okay, so this is Granny Smith ink and I am doing the peas in the pea pod and the Granny Smith. I loved Jill's card where she took the little smiley faces from the snail kit and put smiley faces on all of the little peas. So cute. And then we're gonna do Granny Smith for the leaves on the radish as well. Yes, you could try kissing, so basically kind of pressing that stamp onto the solid surface to get the texture. Yeah, you could definitely try that. Okay, so this one is all one color with the Granny Smith, so that is number 2. And then let's grab the third stencil, which is mainly a lot of the detail. So it's going to put the shading in the back part of the pea pod, and then we're going to add some details onto the radish. So I cut this piece of cardstock really exactly the same size as the stencil. So that helps me line it up. Plus I'm also just looking at it, making sure, and this is down just slightly, just looking at it to make sure everything looks lined up, and it does. All right, so we're gonna use that darker color, the Brussels sprout, for the back inside part of the pea shell. Pea pod? Pea shell? Either way. Yeah, stencils are amazing. I mean, stencils have been around for a long time. It's kind of funny how all of a sudden it was like, ooh, stencils can do this and stencils can do that. And they've just kind of become this now arsenal in our toolbox. So I'm doing the Brussels sprout on that inner pea pod, and then also the detail on those leaves. And then the detail on the actual radish part, I'm going to do mulled wine. Just to add a little bit of extra texture to that radish. Did I add cherry pop to the top part of the radish? I don't think I did I? Let's look. I think I got distracted. It doesn't look bad though. I think I'm just gonna leave it. Here, I'll show you. This one I definitely put the cherry pop on the top, but we're just gonna leave this one guava. I think it works. A little bit more pinky radish. That's fine. So there we've got our two veggies that we're gonna cut out with the coordinating dies. Just slide these out of the way. Let's grab the die cut machine and we're gonna cut out the veggies, and we're gonna cut out the seed packets. Get all these little brushes out of the way here. Okay, so the die, so we're not going to use the inner pieces. We're only going to use this piece here. That is one thing I liked, is how this is set up so you can do two seed packets at one time. Two different designs, of course, but it kind of helps you, especially if you are making multiple projects, get more than one thing done. I'll take that. I need all the help I can get, right? So I'm lining up that centerpiece right down, and I'm just kind of making sure kind of the space around the outside of those frames. How that looks like. It should be right about on target there. There's one, there's two, and let's cut our veggies out. So there's your vegetable dies. So I need my peas and I need my radish. Let's set these aside. Just gonna line that up right around the radish. And then let's line this one up right around the peas. That looks pretty good. Let's send that through. And then we're gonna cut, let's also cut out our seed packet. So I've got that and that. I'm going to add dimension to my projects by stacking up a few die cuts with the pieces, but I already did that so that you wouldn't have to watch me cut out stuff. So we're gonna actually stack these onto the blank pieces. So there's 2 of these glued together already, and we're gonna add this one on top to pop that up without having to use the foam tape behind it. So that I did before. So let me set these aside. We'll take care of that in a little bit. Let's cut out our seed packet. So this is the petite packet, and I'm gonna cut that out of latte cardstock. I love combining latte with toffee. They go together so well. I'm actually working on some projects now for another release coming up in July, and I definitely use latte and toffee together quite a bit. I'm needing to place another order for the latte. So this is cut 6 inches wide, and this pretty much exactly fits across the 6 inches wide. So this will cut it out, and it will also score the lines on there for you. So we will get to that in a little bit. The other thing I'm going to cut out is we talked about the pieces on the back of the little, I had a screw just pop out of my handle's gonna pop out of my Big Shot. Hold on one second. Technical difficulty. Let's try to avoid that happening. I'm just gonna hand tighten it quickly, and I'll get my little tool out later. Okay, so I don't need that. But so what we're gonna do to create these little pieces here is I have a piece of toffee cardstock, and I'm gonna use my hole punch. So I need an 1/8 inch hole in the middle of my circle. So I'm gonna punch 2 holes because I want 2 notches, and then we're gonna cut a circle around it. Now you could use a punch if you have a punch. I did these with a 5/8 inch circle. A 1/2 inch would work as well too. But if you don't have that size hole punch and you got the dies to go with the sentiment set, you do have a circle there that is 5/8 inch. So you can go ahead and line that up right around. So I find it easier. You could cut the circle and you could punch the hole in the middle, but I find it easier to punch the hole and then cut the circle around it. So like I said, you could do this with a hole punch, but if you don't, then you have a circle die, either from the set or from another circle die set that you might have. That is how you can create those kind of paper, I guess they kind of call them reinforcement discs, reinforcement, I don't know, for when you punch a hole and you want it to be strong. Reinforcement something. All right, so I have my 2 pieces that we're gonna do to create those in the back. We'll have one more thing to die cut here, but we have to do a little bit of stamping first. So we're gonna put this aside and we'll pull that back out when we are ready to create the gift card part. So I'm kind of creating all of the elements for both my card and my packet at the same time. And I will say, this is typically how I create, where I'm like, I'm gonna make a bunch of stuff and then we're gonna put it all together. I have things going on in my mind that I think are gonna work. Okay, so we're gonna go back to our mini MISTI. Let's stamp the details onto our seed packet first. So for that, I'm going to need my foam insert, which has run away from me right at this moment. Where did you go? Oh, here it is, underneath something. So we're gonna do the radish and we're gonna do the peas. Let's see, I lost my magnet here. So let's start off, it doesn't really matter, the veggies will fit in either style. So let's go ahead and let's pick, it doesn't really matter. Let's do peas. So So we're gonna go ahead and center that there, and I'm gonna stamp this on here with the Nocturne VersaFine Clair. I'm gonna stamp peas. And these don't need a lot of pressure, so don't push down super hard, just enough to get that impression on there. So we need peas. And then I want to put that little Sunshine Sea Coat underneath the peas. And of course we have other little things in the set that you can do. So you can customize these little seed packets kind of however you want. And I know Taylor talked about that we have so many ideas to expand this set. And like some of these things are already kind of drawn out, which is really fun. When I started going with this, I just had so much fun. I just went and went and went. Let's see, the other thing I'm gonna stamp on here is I want the little 5-cent, and I'm gonna stamp that in sugar cube ink. So let's grab a little 5-center and pop that on there. There's the 2 different 5 cents, a solid one, an outline one, and then there's a little circle that says seeds, which were kind of designed to just kind of stamp wherever you want on there. And there's also a die cut for the circle, like I just showed you, that you could cut out the little 5 cent. I think Taylor did cut out hers when she made her card. So this is gonna be ready to pop those peas right in there. So let's go ahead and do this one for the radish. Take that off of there because I think we're going to use the other 5-center. I'm going to slide this down so I can put Sunshine Sea Coat above the word radish. Yes, we're going to have a lot of fun with this one. There's the radish, and then I want that Sunshine Sea Coat to stamp right above there. There's a little word that just says seeds, so you could just put radish seeds, but I love the little company name above there. The clear stamps are great for lining it up. This gives you lots of versatility of where you stamp everything too. You can pick and choose the things you want to include on your little seed packet. Then let's do the little outline 5-center. Ooh, I got a little smudger down there. A little bit of Nocturne VersaFine Clair on my finger. And let's do this one in sugar cube again. Right. So I've got my 2 little seed packets for my radish and my peas. So let's go ahead. Oh, the other thing I have to stamp, where did my radish and peas go? They are somewhere on my desk. Oh, there they are. Got the radish, we've got the peas. We need a card background, and I also want to stamp the gift card inserts. So I've got some pieces of green tea. These are cut out with the dies from that A2 Layer Stacklets die collection. I use this almost on every card, you guys. This is just an invaluable die collection to own. If you don't have it, you should get it. So I'm gonna stamp that chicken wire on both of those. So let's grab the chicken wire stamp. Let's pop that in there. I've got that adhesive in there already, so I'm gonna let that hold. So let's grab green tea ink. So I'm just stamping just like a tone-on-tone background on there. Beth is letting me know I can get a replacement from my sweet petunia. Thank you. I found it. I knew it was here somewhere, but yes. That is always good to know. You can get more if you lose it. I have definitely lost things over the years. So there's our green tea background there, and then this is for the gift card holder, which we'll add the notches to. And I'm also stamping that with the green tea. So really, if you give them the card and the gift card at the same time, the sets coordinate together. I just set my stamp pad down upside down and it disappeared out of my vision. I think we released the chicken wire when we released, remember the chicken background? We still have it. I think that's when this came out. So there is our chicken wire on our gift card panel. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to stamp. I have my sentiments already stamped. I'll show you those in a little bit. So that means we can do a little bit of splattering because I can't not splatter my stuff. And again, this is totally optional. You do not have to splatter if this is not your thing. But I like to splatter everything. So here we go. I love to splatter with chocolate truffle liquid watercolor. So that is what this is, and I have it on the little mini glass mat. That's what's been living on my glass mat, is that, because it's right there and ready for me. So I'm picking that up with my water brush and tapping to add splatters to all of the pieces. I am going to address this smudge here at some point. All right, so there are some of those. Let's do a few more on the veggies. There, ooh, lots on the veggies. That's okay. And then I like to use some white splatters with the Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White ink. I'm just flushing my brush out right now so I can change colors. That's what I'm using for white splatters. I'm getting down to the bottom of this. I'm going to need a new container soon. I'm kind of working that up in the lid. You can do that on an acrylic block if you want. There's some white splatters. Gives it that little bit of a rustic, distressed look that I love. I'm flushing my brush out to get that white ink out of my brush. You don't want to let that dry in your brush. Okey-dokey. All right, let me pull these aside and we will kind of regroup. Let me clean my desk off here quick and then we'll start assembling things together. Like I said, I have one more die cut thing to do, but we can do that here in just a moment. Clean up that glass mat. So easy. All right, so let's pull this stuff back in. Let me pull my little dish of stuff. I always kind of have a little dish of extras, and I think I've mentioned before when I'm doing any sort of project where I'm stamping sentiments, I try to stamp extras of those sentiments so that I have ones ready to go. I have extra veggies ready to go, so later on down the line when I go into my packet, I can just grab one of these and start creating. So here's our little sentiments. These are all in this set, same set that had the veggie names in it. It is Seeds and Such Vegetables, so it's had the veggie names and then it's got sentiments, and it has the ones that die cuts for the sentiments and then the little sentiments that fit on the little banner, like that. So I did a few of those. Taylor showed that on Tuesday. There are so many cute sayings that fit onto that little swooped banner. Okay, like I mentioned, I cut out a few layers here already just to add a little extra dimension to the veggies. So we're just gonna pop those on there. You could use foam tape to pop these up. Kind of depends on the mood that I'm in, kind of how I want that to go. We'll just pop that onto the seed packet. How cute. So cute. Even a little, just a little card with like that. That is so cute. You could use liquid adhesive if that's what you would prefer. I'm just being quick with my tape runner right now. And lazy, let's be real. I am a lazy crafter for sure. Pop that radish onto there. So cute. Now if I was Jill, I'd put eyes on there. I don't have any eyes available, but that would be so cute. Oh, I love it. Okay, so let's grab, where's the rest of the pieces of my card? I have a piece of the Brussels sprout that's gonna go behind there. So let's go ahead and do that. Just gonna center that on there. And then we'll just add that to a card base. So this is really the same size as the card base. This is so I'm saving my colored cardstock, and this is a dark one too, so it's a little bit harder to write inside without a gel pen of some sort. And so I like to get those heavyweight card bases that they have on the Mentaffi and Sugar Cube, and they're amazing. And then you don't have to cut or score or anything. You can just grab them and make your card. So they are a go-to for me for sure. Line that up right on there. And then I do want to use the thin foam adhesive on the backs to pop these up. Really just this one, because we'll finish this card and then we'll put that gift card envelope together. Pop that on there, center it. I'm eyeballing. If you want to use a ruler, you definitely could. And then let's add a cute little banner at the top. I think that would look adorable. So I'm going to trim just a little piece of the thin foam adhesive. So that I can put it on the back of that banner. Just turning it so it follows the curve, sort of, but it's behind, so you're not going to see it anyway. Let's put that little banner right up there. You could put it right across the veggies if you want. I think I'll put my sentiment there actually. So we'll just do this. And I think, or should we do scatter seeds of kindness? I'm trying to decide what I like here. Do we like that? I feel like I like that. So there is our card. Look how cute that is. What a happy card to send somebody, especially in the summer. And these veggies are gonna go into the fall. It's kind of that harvest theme as well. Gardening is such a big thing in the summer. I love it. All right, let's put this seed packet together. So we have this piece here. Let's add something to cover up our little blob there. And of course, that isn't seeming to work. Grow your own. I think I'm at a weird angle. How about love grows here? Love grows here, looks great there. I probably don't really love it there, but, or let's see. I've also got my eraser that I can just kind of, let's get that out of there. Then it's not a big deal. So this is the sand eraser. And it's gone. So there you go. Enough done fretting about that, right? Okay, so let's set these aside here and let's grab that seed packet envelope, and I'm going to grab my bone folder as well. So let's fold these pieces of the envelope. Gonna fold in, right on those score lines. Do the folds first. And that little flap at the bottom to come up. I'm going to grab, while I'm thinking about it here, what I'm going to use to assemble is I've got the 1/8 inch kind of sticky tape, and then I've got the 1/4 inch sticky tape. But we have to get those little closure pieces on there first. So where did I set my little circles? There they are. I did not lose them, thank goodness. And we are going to figure out where they're going to go on here. I'm just going to grab a pencil so I can make a mark on there. This is going to have to be pretty close to the middle, but you want to be able to punch that 1/8 inch hole. I'm just going to add a little dot in the middle there. And then I'm going to use my hole punch. I'm going to take, there's a little piece of paper in there, so I'm just going to clean that out so I can see where my punch is going to go. So I'm just going to line that up and do that. So it's pretty close to that edge, just so you're aware that that is where it's going to go. Taylor did her little closure on her envelope with the brads. That works too. You don't have to commit to a 1/8 inch hole with the brad, something a little bit more tiny. Okay, so we're gonna put these on before we assemble the envelope. I've got my holes punched, so basically it's gonna go together like this, and so my closure is gonna be there. So now I'm gonna grab my eyelet setting tool. So I have eyelets. These are just little silver eyelets that I got from a craft store, probably Michael's or something like that. And we're gonna set the eyelets right in there. I'm not gonna do this on camera because I'm not gonna pound a hammer on my glass mat. So I've got my setter, I've got my hammer, I've got my little mat. You're gonna hear me pound just a second. If you don't know how to set an eyelet, I guarantee there are so many videos out there that show you how to do it. So there, I've set the eyelet through all the layers to add it to that piece. And I forgot to pop my thread in there. So let's see if we can do that. Because you need your burlap twine. So let me grab a length of that. I'm gonna be generous because I can always trim this down. Basically what I do, and I just went ahead of myself here, is I tuck this in here before I totally flatten it. And I could just, we'll do it on the top. We're just gonna do it on the top this time. So I'm gonna start my eyelet. Basically what I'm doing is I'm doing the pounding to get that to splay out with the tool. So right now, it's not completely flat because typically I'll do it with the tool and then I'll take it out and hit it a few times with my hammer to flatten it out. So I'm a little bit loose up here and I can actually tuck this little burlap piece in there. And I'm gonna leave this tail because we're gonna trim this off. So I'm snugging it up really close in as far as I can to inside that circle, and then I'm gonna pound this flat on the side. So I'm not using any tools, I'm just gonna pound this flat. So that is tightening this eyelet so that this is snug in there. So I set the eyelet, I hit it a few times to splay out those prongs. I tucked that twine in there. I hit it again to flatten it and tighten it, and this is secure in there. And then you're just gonna take your scissors throw things around. And just trim it in as close as you can get underneath. No one's gonna see that. You can actually push that end in too. I have a little tiny piece that is not trimming. It's not gonna do it because I'm live. There we go. There. So there, I've got my piece on there. I typically would have done it here. It doesn't really matter. It just needs to be on one of those pieces. So it just needs to be hugged in there. If you totally forget also, you can just try to pull it in there. Like just slide it in and pull it in there. Or you can use some sort of glue or something like that to try to get it to stay as well. And yes, you can use a crocodile too. People like to do that. So this crocodile does have, it kind of depends on the eyelets you have. Some eyelets are a softer metal and some are a little bit harder, but you can use this tool to set your eyelets as well. So you have to follow the instructions for that if you have that tool. Okay, so I've got my folds done. I've got my little pieces on there. Let's go ahead and start assembling. This overlap right here is about, it's a little bit more than 1/8 of an inch, so that's why I'm gonna use that 1/8 inch sticky tape right there. So I'm just gonna go right along this edge. I'm not gonna go over the eyelet because it's just gonna cause interruptions. You can use a liquid glue to do this too. Just make sure you've got something that's really nice and strong. Yes, eyelets are definitely flatter than a brad. Okay, so I just took the paper backing off. I'm gonna go ahead and seal that down. And then I have that 1/4 inch. You could use the 1/8 inch as well on that. I just wanted a little bit wider sticky on there. And we're gonna take that paper backing off and fold that up. And we have our little envelope. And it's ready to close with a little string. I'm just gonna go around. I usually kind of have it go around like that. And then we really don't need all of that extra. Just trim that off. I like to be generous though because I want to make sure that I have enough. It's better to have too much and trim back than to not have enough at all. Okay, so there's our cute little closure on the envelope. Let's go ahead and just stick this down on here. So I'm just grab my tape runner to decorate that cute envelope. I have done with little envelopes in the past too, like if you're doing something where you want it to be on the front, you could put it right there and have your packet open that way. Totally up to you what you want to do. It's your project. So let's pop that on there. So there's our cute little packet ready to go. So let's get this part ready for the gift card. So I need the gift card notch die, which this is what that looks like. There is one of these in a set and I can't think of what it is right now, but then we also do sell it on its own. I want to say, is it like the Pretty Package or something like that that has this in it? I'm sure many of you actually know or can look it up or whatever. But like I said, this is the gift card notch die that you can just get on its own as well. So I'm just basically centering it on there. Get my tape and then we'll cut that so we can add those notches to there. Beth says we need to bring back eyelets of all colors and sizes. You are right. I would be super happy with that. I love the silver. That's one I probably would go for all the time. I do have to say though, go to thrift stores because I find lots and lots of eyelets at thrift stores. Okay, so there's those notches popped in there. And then I did just one more thing to that panel to kind of finish it off. So if you look at the back, you can kind of see where it has gone through your die cut machine. So I cut an additional rectangle and I'm just gonna pop that on the back to give it a clean back. Just make sure you're not taping your notches. So you can go down the middle, obviously, and the sides. But yes. And this gives you, it's kind of like when you're doing tags, if you want to clean back on your tag and cut that same, if it's a symmetrical shape, you can just give it a nice finish. I will say it is a little bit more challenging to pop those notches for the gift card, but it really is worth it for the look. I was like, where did I stick my little gift card here? There it is. So there's that. We're gonna pop it in there and we're gonna loop that around to close it up for a gift. There we go. So now we have a card and we have a gift card holder ready to go to give to someone special. What do you guys think? This kit is so much fun. Oh my goodness, I've had so much fun. Let me flip you up to the top. All right, you guys, here's what we made today. I have so many fun little like gardening things for my card stash now. I'm so excited. Look at all of these. So much fun. It's gonna be fun to dig through these when I need a card to use these for my friends, family, and the special people in my life. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you had so much fun crafting with the Seeds and Such card making kit. Beth says she would love to get my handmade projects. I send a lot of them to the store, so you can always go look at them there if you're in the Ankeny area and stop by the studio, which you should. It's so much fun to see all of the design team projects in person. It's one of my favorite things to do is to walk through the store and look at everything. So thank you guys again. Have a wonderful weekend. It is the last weekend of June. I hope the weather's beautiful where you are and you can do something fun. And I will be seeing you. If you're coming down to Ankeny for the Christmas card class in July, I will see you there. Otherwise, I will be appearing in the live soon. Just give me a little time while we're getting ourselves settled as we transition here. So thank you guys so much, and I'll see you.